Hello, guys, and welcome back to the D's Don't Get Degrees podcast.
Hey y'all, I'm Dominic
And I'm Jessica.
and we're back for episode 2. We're here. It's a miracle somehow, some way on this internet show. We haven't been canceled. It's crazy.
Yeah.
All right, so we want to kind of take a minute to fill y'all in on what's kind of happened, what's been happening with us since the last episode. We by the time you see it, by the time this goes up, then you'll see it obviously. But we kind of had to go through the process of getting like cover art and artwork for, and like just getting ready for like the social media presence and just for where we're gonna post it. You can't just post it with like a blank screen. So we had to contact an artist.
Yeah, we went on Fiverr because I figured we didn't have a whole lot of money to spend. And we wanted a fast turnaround and a good job. And I mean, Fiverr seemed like a great place for it.
Yeah, no, it definitely was a lot of variety. It was pretty funny. We spent in
Way too long.
an unreasonable amount of time literally searching for the artist, but I think you're gonna be, we don't know what it looks like yet, but I think you're gonna
That's
be
funny.
Yeah.
They're looking at their phone like, this shit sucks. This is what you guys put that much work towards it, and this is what you got.
I mean, hopefully, I'm pretty sure it'll be great. I think more than anything, just the idea of like someone like us coming up with a creative image and then someone else like drawing it in whatever way they imagine it. Like, I don't know. I think it's kind of flattering. It's kind of like if you tell someone just to draw a picture of you, even if it kind of sucks, you're going to be flattered. Like, oh, like that's kind of cool.
I swear to God, if he made me fat.
He could have.
If he made me fat and made you skinny, I'm gonna murder somebody. I'm gonna show up at this guy's house. I'm not, but
Well, just a good moment to
be fair, we didn't pay a whole lot. He didn't charge us a whole lot. So
nope, but he was great.
Very polite.
Maybe we should have been prepared and like had his handle up and like, hey, this is
shit.
in case anybody else ever needs anything. It's
Yeah.
because he really would.
While Dominic pulls that up, I just want to mention we did plan for kind of different art amongst the platforms. So if you're listening to this on YouTube, click on our page and the banner should look a certain way. Should look a little different from our icon.
Yeah, we tried to do the whole 9 yards. Like, we didn't just want one little random picture to do for every, like, for Instagram, Twitter, for everything. No.
So if you are on YouTube, head over to the iTunes podcast and we have a whole different design.
Yeah, it's pretty lit. But okay,
We're also on Instagram and Twitter.
I found it. So
Forgot about Twitter.
The artist's name is on Fiverr, Gabriel0013. He does really
He's so cute.
and he does really good work. He has really cool drawings and pictures. Basically, I could read his like bio, but essentially what he does is like a lot of graphic designers on Fiverr, like anything you need it for, whether it's like just random social media stuff, whether you need it for a podcast or a YouTube page or whatever, like you contact him, you let him know, hey, I like your art. Could you draw something for me? You send him in the details of what you want, your pictures and all that, and I mean it works out. This is my first time using Fiverr, so it is really
mine too.
I'm all about
I
it.
like that we didn't talk about shouting him out. He didn't ask for it.
Nope.
But we just love sucking dick so much. Here we are.
I mean, I don't know. I felt weird like bringing it up and then all of a sudden and then what if people are like, well, who'd you get? You know what I mean? Like if I was listening, I'd be like, okay, this really cool person. And what if somebody really just liked the artwork?
To be fair, if you guys do have any questions throughout the podcast, feel free to like message us anywhere, literally anywhere. Take your pick.
Anywhere, and we will.
One of us is bound to respond.
I mean, I don't know. I'm pretty sure I'll get y'all back. Jessica's not great at texting back, but I got y'all. Don't worry.
It's 'cause I don't like my real friends, but
she does.
That's a whole other.
That's a whole nother episode.
It's a whole other enchilada. All right, guys. So that's one big thing that went down since the last episode. As far as like our lives, and it's been about a week, right?
Yeah,
since the last one. Yeah,
it's been about 1 week since we're actually. It's funny. We're actually right about on schedule, but yeah, we're 1 week from the last recording, and I mean, for me, it's been much of the same. I had this one, like, I'm trying to keep the story short, but I actually had this pretty funny interaction with this girl at my job. I'm gonna call her Shoe Girl because I'm not
Shoe girl.
Shoe Girl. Yep. But so I'm talking with Shoe Girl, and I'm kind of trying to flirt. She's like not trying to make it too awkward, but it's not going whatever. Well, whatever. That's a whole different thing. But it's pretty funny. We're talking.
So just to clarify for anyone that might be confused, when Dominic first told me about this, I knew she wasn't flirting. She wasn't flirting at all.
Well, you weren't there, but anyways, yeah. So Shoe Girl is pretty. She's funny, but anyway, we're talking or whatever, and I follow two rules when I'm talking to a girl. Right, I try and keep two rules in mind. One, don't talk about yourself too long because they're just gonna lose interest and get bored. And two, don't talk about your like exes or other people you've like been involved with because they're gonna get bored. Yeah, those are two good rules to follow, and I broke both of them at the same time. I literally wasted like, I don't know, 20 minutes of this girl's time talking about one of my more recent exes. So
like super recent.
Like, yeah. So I mean, it was very awkward. At the end, she was like, "All right, well, I'm gonna go back to my department now.
I'm gonna go back to my shoes."
So yeah, and I was like, "Bye, Shoe Girl."
I met her today. Didn't know who she was. I sat down at the table ready to talk to you and didn't even think about saying hi or introducing myself to the girl sitting next to you because I'm not a very nice person in general.
It's okay.
Did she say something? Did she say something when I left?
No.
Oh.
She didn't. I expected her to be like, "Oh, who was..." She didn't.
The fuck was that?
She didn't. I mean,
she didn't acknowledge me.
She didn't care in the slightest. I think she felt weird about you.
That's how much she's not interested. That she was like, I don't even care about who this guy talks to.
Fair enough. Okay. I mean, if you're just trying to make me feel bad, then sure. Let's.
I'm just being honest.
Okay. Sure thing. Here we are. All right. But anyways, so next time I talk to her, I'm gonna be better. I'm not gonna break all of those rules at once.
Yeah.
But to be fair, and this time it wasn't the worst. I mean, I've talked to her since then a little bit, and I mean, she talked about herself a lot too, so it was cool. It was kind of a feeling not get to know each other as much as you can in 20 minutes while being at work and whatever. But
that's funny. I feel like the only people I talk at work are the people I'm obligated to.
I talk to them a lot less. It's like the people I'm supposed to be talking to, I'm just like, we could not though.
But you go talk to other departments?
Well, in my defense, she was over on our part. It's more like whenever anybody else comes to our department,
okay.
I'm
I
like,
see what you mean.
Stay, please, like interact with me. Like,
yeah. No, I'm not about it. I look at people like, what are you doing? Like, get out.
I mean, to do that, you kind of have to have pride in your department. And I mean, I don't,
but I'm money hungry. Like, you're not about to show up and take anything from my department.
I feel that. You got that.
Even though I have nothing.
You got that real seller's mentality. You a shark.
And I've gone to other departments to sell, so I don't know why.
You're a shark.
You think I would respect other?
You're a full blown shark at this point. I think that's the difference between me and you. I am not even a little bit. I'm still like a little tuna fish. You are a full blown shark.
I'm aggressive.
You're here for it. But that's pretty. I mean, that's the funny-ish interaction that happened with me.
I didn't do anything this past week. I went to work. Oh, I had a really, really good week of going to the gym when I told myself I would go.
That's good.
Isn't that crazy? Guys, I've gotten fat. I don't know how to. I don't mean that as a self-deprecating thing. I told a guy that over Snapchat, like an old friend. I was like, hey, so I got fat. Like, I'm not trying to hang out with you because I got fat. And he was like, oh, no.
Wait, legit?
Yeah.
So did you hang out with him?
No.
Was that just an excuse or?
No, I'm dead serious. I was like, dude, since you saw me like 2 years ago, I'm fat now. And it wasn't me being like, oh, like,
no,
I'm a size 6 now. I'm not. I was a size 6 like 3 years ago. No, okay. I mean, in all honesty, I put on a little bit of weight, and it's kind of embarrassing as someone who has never really dealt with weight like this before. I'm my heaviest I've ever been right now.
Fair enough. Okay.
And I'm really bad about the gym. So I felt really good this past week that I was like, yeah, I'm going to go 6 days a week. And I went.
That's
and they
good.
Were consecutive, and I didn't skip. And my diet did fall off towards the end there. But, hey, I stayed with the gym. And 1 week down, a lifetime to go.
Some more to go. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. A lifetime. You know? When you think of it that way, like you'll get there, you'll reach your goal. Maybe
eventually, maybe in a lifetime. Leave a really skinny coffin behind.
Skinny.
A skinny legend. Yeah, so that was that was me this week. I just went to the gym and got fries on my 6th day of working out. And that was it. No funny interactions.
I think I got drunk a couple times this week, so that was nice. And then there was one interaction with your girl that was kind of funny. And then other than that was it. So whatever, not a very eventful week.
But that's our lives, 9 to 5. You know. That's not my schedule at all, but
I would.
It feels like it.
A 9 to 5 right now would actually be exactly. I was like, you telling me that I get to actually make plans and every night because like I know I can.
Yeah. I like closed one day and immediately had to be back the next morning and open, and I'm like, it sounds like enough, but there's 12 hours in between my shift. 2 of those I have to spend driving to and back from work. Another one of those I have to spend showering, getting ready for work. Another one like showering, getting ready for bed. All I'm doing is sleeping and then coming straight back to this hellhole. It's so depressing. It's so sad.
That's the grind, you know.
That's the grind, right? The hustle.
I'm just being obnoxious at this point.
Yeah, but that brings us to a good topic. The hustle. Yeah. The grind. Who coined that? Where did you first hear that? Where did you first hear someone say, "When all seriousness, not as a joke"?
Okay. The first time I ever heard someone
here hustling.
I want to say it had to be either late high school senior year or like first year
from
of college.
Your peers?
Yeah, it had to be from. I mean, I'm sure I've heard it in random but when I heard it on TV or movies and stuff, it wasn't hustle as in the concept of like out here hustling trying to get money. Unless they're talking about like drug dealing, whatever.
No, it was like conning. Like
yeah, it was like conning. Yeah, like when you hear like exactly like someone who goes to like pool halls and pretends to be bad. And,
right.
First time, I think that's probably the first time episode.
Right.
Of,
what negative connotations? We really flipped that around, huh? I feel like growing up, that's what I thought of as hustling, and now I think of it as like you're a hard worker.
Yeah, I mean, that is curious. I wonder who flipped that and made it kind of a positive thing, but.
Only DJ Khaled Snapchat. That's it. That's the only one to think for.
He's completely responsible for it.
For a movement.
Good for him, I guess. But he doesn't like to eat out his wife, so he's kind of whack.
Oh my God.
Right?
I just remembered that. DJ Khaled doesn't go down on his ladies, but he's a king, so he does expect it. Did you hear that part of the interview?
I don't want to spend.
Can you imagine looking like that and thinking you're entitled to something you don't you feel is beneath you? What? Like
I can't. I don't know.
Is he married? He has a kid, right?
Yeah, I thought that was his wife. No.
Oh, was he talking about his wife? That's so embarrassing.
I mean, I don't know.
That is so embarrassing.
But I feel like it's his wife. No, I mean.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Mrs. Khaled. Wherever you are, your little dry vagina.
Girl.
So sad.
It's hard for me to believe in this day and age. It's 2018 and we not like I don't understand. We not giving oral. It's 2018. And I can understand if like it's a talked about thing. Like, okay, I'm really just not comfortable doing it. Okay, sure.
But he made a point of like, I expect it.
Yeah, and it's like you can't expect. No,
which you're not giving out.
Yeah, because that's an extra thing. That's an extra part of sex. It's not like it's not written in the rules that you have to do it. You know, but it's also not rules that you have to expect it either. What
does she do? She's just a housewife?
I have no idea. I'm not even gonna pretend to know. No idea.
That's crazy. I've never heard of like a Mrs. Khaled, but I don't really know much about him. So
me neither. I stopped following him on Snapchat like a little while ago.
A little while ago. I followed him when like the trend of like making fun of his Snapchats was a thing, and then very quickly got over it because
you realize once you get past the jokes, it was just like, wow, he really is out here like on like every day, and you just gotta
every single day watering his plants,
and it's just like, all right. Like, I don't know.
Did
what
you
else to
ever?
say.
Were you following him when he got lost?
No.
He got lost like at night out on his jet ski in the ocean.
What?
And instead of he has a phone with him obviously because he Snapchatted the whole thing. I don't know if he just didn't have like enough signal to call someone because he kept on saying like call my manager on his Snapchat. Like, yeah, let me hit her up. I got her on speed dial. It was so cool. I'm sure there's like a YouTube video out there of all the Snapchats.
Man, no, I must have been following him really late then because when I saw it, it was
so good. It was he's like just like the camera facing him with the flash and everything is just darkness behind him. And he's like, yeah, we out here, but they're literally lost. Him and whoever else is with them.
Oh, jeez.
Which is.
But no, back to the hustle. That wasn't what this was originally.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
this wasn't meant to be a DJ Khaled.
I just felt like I had to comment because I mean I can't hear DJ Khaled and not think about how his shortcomings. Let's just leave it at that.
Yeah.
But anyways, you had a story about something that happened recently.
Yes, this past weekend. I guess that's an indication of. I mean, when this episode goes up, hopefully soon, it would still be relevant. I'm sure it will. It'll live on in the hearts of YouTubers, angry fans, and
I'm sure the fans won't ever forget.
So this past weekend was VidCon. More importantly, it was also TanaCon. I'm gonna be honest here. I'm not a huge fan. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with the girl, but I'm not like I don't think I'm even subscribed to her. I don't watch her videos religiously, but she hangs around with people who I do watch, so I know of her.
Yeah,
like, she's in my group of.
It's in your sphere,
right?
Like, if we were in high school, she would be that friend who like knows all your friends, but you've never interacted with her yourself,
right? And I found out about this when she first made like a call out video to VidCon. If you're familiar with the situation. If you're not, it's not that hard to catch up. She felt like she was jaded at VidCon the past few years. And that led to her own convention hosted on the same weekend, this past weekend, TanaCon.
Yeah.
And boy, was it a shit show. Like, I don't know why. I think I literally opened up Twitter and saw it instantly and was like, oh my God, what's going on? And that led me, I spiraled down a hole of looking at people uploading videos, real-time videos of I've been standing out here, look at how red my legs are. I mean, in her from the bleeding in California sun.
Before we really get into it really hard, I want to make it clear we're not trying to rip into her. Like this is
right.
leading into like a bigger discussion.
Yeah.
And I mean, but
because I didn't really care. Like,
right. Yeah, I don't watch her either. I don't know. I mean, and I respect her trying, I guess.
Right.
Like, like that's not an easy feat to do.
I don't know all of the like specs, all the ins and outs.
Right. That's not an easy feat to do.
How it ended up being such a disaster.
Right.
Maybe to some people it wasn't. Not for none of the tweets that I read indicate that, but I don't know. I like to think that maybe there were good intentions and the event just fell short of everything it promised.
That's the way I'm thinking about it. Yeah.
Right. What it made me think of was the lead up to it, because I remember watching her talk about how much work and effort, how hard she was grinding, putting in hours
the hustle.
To like organize this event and get all of the YouTube content creators like together for this big thing. Shane Dawson was gonna go. Shane Dawson doesn't go to VidCon, which is why it was such a big deal. I love Shane Dawson.
Yeah. So essentially, if you still aren't exactly sure, basically, she felt like she was getting, shafted by VidCon itself. So she was like, all right, well, I'm gonna do my own VidCon, with my fans and other fans of people who like Jessica, who like follow people who are near and similar to me, but like not me, whatever. Even y'all want to come out to see other people. So she tried to get her own like she had to go through all of what it takes to do your own convention. Like, the building.
I thought it was problematic. Probably the biggest thing for me as someone who didn't go and didn't have any like intentions of ever going was she had to know she was in the wrong to do it so quickly only to spite VidCon, right?
You think that's like wrong?
Yeah, because if what made her think that she had to have it on the same weekend? She could have done it any other weekend. She could have given herself 6 months to plan it,
you're right.
year, or
you're right.
more than what she ended up like crunching
Right.
all that.
I mean,
work
there's no
into.
doubt it would have gone better if she would have given herself more time. But I personally don't think, like, if you think it's wrong to do something out of spite, it wouldn't matter if you did it like that moment or like 2 months later or 6 months later or a year later at the same time. Like, to me, if you think the action's wrong, the action's wrong. It
Well, I
doesn't really.
think not necessarily to do it, but to host it on the same thing was like, oh, I'm like, she had to know some of the VidCon crowd would get pulled into her convention.
Oh,
I
for
think
sure.
I
I'm
think
sure that was the goal. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
mean,
so in order to achieve that, I feel like she just was fine with, oh, let's just rush these things.
yeah, there's no doubt about it. You definitely don't rush it in this type of thing. It would have made a bigger impact.
Especially when I think one of her biggest gripes with VidCon was that she didn't feel like there was enough security for the people attending and for the people that were there as creators.
Yeah.
And that was such an issue for this event.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Were they like
I saw tweets that were like, yeah, eventually like some security just started letting people in. They weren't even checking their bags or anything.
Oh shit, this is not
scary.
good.
Yeah,
that's not cool.
It's why most it's why Shane Dawson and James Charles never left their hotel room. They just stayed there.
God, they're a little terrified.
Yeah, exactly.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine how like good of a friend you have to be to like, I'm gonna show up to this thing that my friend's putting together, even though I know it's a shit show. I know it's not gonna be good. It's like,
well, one of her friends, James Charles, like subtweeted her. Like, she went on, I think, Instagram Live.
Mm-hmm.
Is that where you can do like live things?
Yeah.
She went on Instagram Live, and you can type little comments, and there were so many screenshots of James Charles commenting like, admit that it's a mess and move on. I know. Which I love. I actually really love that because
that is
what a
pretty
friend.
funny. Yeah.
What a friend.
No, that's hilarious. That is a really good friend. That's what you want. Like, I don't know. I mean, I could just imagine it like what if our friend tries to throw a party essentially, right? And we know he didn't put in any like real prep for this. He didn't like there's nothing you can do, but you're going to be a real friend. You still going to show up, but you're just like, damn, this kind of sucks. You're probably gonna like shit talk it, like,
yeah, I'm gonna dip out, like,
just a little bit, yeah, like, hey, there's still some bars open. We don't have to like just show up, show your face, and then leave.
Sounds like a very familiar story.
I'm not trying to. Similar, but no, I think it's a little different,
right?
Because
Yeah.
the friend didn't throw the party; he just brought us to the party.
Anyways, the reason I brought this up today wasn't even, I don't even have really much to say about the TanaCon thing. What it made me think of was, and it's hard to lead into the subject, so you can,
Okay, yeah.
correct me where you think I may be steering in the wrong direction. But the real question I had at hand, for me, at least, as a 23-year-old young adult, I was going to call myself a kid. I had to stop myself from being like a 23-year-old kid.
Basically like a young person, a young
youngin.
I think that's fine.
Yeah.
A youngin, right? A kiddo. No.
A kiddo.
A young
A youth.
A youth.
The whole TanaCon mess made me think of what does it mean to hustle? Right. And not only what does it mean to hustle, but what is the point of that hustle, that grind?
Right,
if
because
it leads to
because one of
nothing.
your things that you found interesting about this situation, I kind of do too, even though I didn't follow it as closely, is like she was very adamant about basically before the event, like letting her fans know this is going to be great, this is going to be a really good thing because I worked so hard on it. I worked so hard. I've been out here hustling, grinding, long nights, early mornings, that type of thing, right? The traditional, like what you think of when you think of hustling, and your point is like, well, I mean, and it's true. Like,
what was it for if it didn't lead to anything?
What did it? Because apparently there wasn't any real panels available. A lot of people, like, she promised like gifts and stuff that weren't ready. There was a whole lot of promises that were made that kind of weren't really fulfilled.
Right.
It just literally, like, it wasn't like our event was decent, but we just underestimated the amount. No, like, the event really wasn't good. Yeah. So it's like, and I mean, we can apply that to like all kinds of people, especially young people, like, like if you're out here hustling, what are you really hustling towards?
Right. It made me think, and it made me do like a little introspective moment of how I considered myself like a hard worker, a hustler, if you will, at the age of not even that old, like 20. At the
Yeah.
age of 20,
I mean,
putting in like
I would say you
40-hour
probably
work weeks.
from what I know about you, you've been hustling. If that's what you want to like define it as, you've been
Right.
hustling since your first job.
Exactly.
So
Like 18, out on the streets. No, I'm just kidding. I have a loving family. But like working a job and pushing myself to work as much as possible, work as
Yeah.
hard as possible. And I remember being a lot younger.
Mhm.
Actually, let me not say 20. Let me say 21. 21, drinking for the first time.
Okay.
And being perfectly fine with justifying that, you know, maybe going to the bar and dropping way too much money on a bar tab,
Oh,
buying
God.
rounds of
That-
shots for my
ooh,
friends
boy,
and
that
drinks
was-
on drinks on drinks
That was a fun
because
year.
I had hustled, because I had worked, and
Mhm.
this was, I deserve this. And it didn't lead me anywhere.
Mhm.
And now I'm only 23. I'm not even like that much older now. But now I have debt that I want to pay off. I have savings that I want to grow.
Yeah.
I have real goals.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
to me, the hustle's different now. And I can't believe that at one point I didn't see that.
Right. And I mean, I think that brings a good point, right? Because I think there's a lot of people with good intention. They hustle, but maybe like, you know, they don't necessarily always see the fruits of their labor because they don't necessarily plan accordingly. They don't necessarily budget the right way, or not even just money aspect of, but just in general, like you don't really. Sometimes I just legit don't see it through. Like it's a lot that can kind of go wrong with like trying to, like, just because you put in a lot of like work doesn't mean, you know,
It results in anything.
right. And I mean,
And
it's
what's
kinda
the
sad
point
to
of the
think about,
work
but-
if it means nothing? I worked at a dry cleaners. That was a rough job.
Yeah.
And in hindsight, I'm like, what did I even get from that? What do I have to show for it?
You can put it on your resume.
Not even. What job is going to be like, oh, a dry
I
cleaners?
was kidding. I was joking.
It sucks. It sucks because I have no savings from that. And at the time, I didn't even have that many bills. This was before I started accumulating student debt.
Yeah.
So what do I have to show from that? You know?
Yeah. And I mean, I think that's one of the big takeaways, I guess. One thing that it sounds like you learned, and what I definitely have learned from working too, is just like, because I also started working at about 19, and the same thing back then. Like, I didn't really have a whole lot of student debt or anything. Like, I could have just made my money, and I was only making minimum wage, but still, like, I could have. I like to think I worked pretty hard. You know, I wasn't out here like 40-hour work weeks at 19, but I mean, I was definitely like, I would say I made sacrifices, right? Like, I would say I made a decent amount of sacrifice for what I thought was doing the right thing, going to work, trying to make money and make something of myself. And I mean, it, like you said, like, what do I have to show for it now? You know, like, not from that actual time period of work, like, not much, like, much or nothing, you know? And it's like, I could have saved it, or I could have at least treated myself better. Like, if you're going to do the treat yourself, at least do something worth, you know, like, I could have spent that money on, like,
I think about, why didn't I spend when I was younger, right? 18, 19, and I had so much free time. I could literally, the dry cleaners I worked at, I could have been like, hey, so I worked really hard the last month. Can I take a week off to go travel, to take a trip, you know, with my friends or something?
Or not just that, but like, you know how we just finished talking about how hard it was, how many hours we spent on Fiverr trying to find a graphic designer. You could invest.
Why didn't I build those skills?
Yeah, build
myself.
skills to do things that you want to, like, just even if they just start off as hobbies, like, you know. So there's a lot you can do, but
I remember taking paychecks and just being like, well, I already have gas in my car, and I was getting paid weekly at the time, which was also terrible for me. It didn't teach me anything about budgeting, but I think like, well, I get paid next Friday, so if I take this paycheck and spend it all at the mall on shoes and clothes and
really
little trinkets, what's it really gonna matter, you know?
Yeah.
Or if I take it and buy like a camera, it's fine because I'll get paid next week. Like, for what, you know? For what?
I get you. And I mean, one of the big takeaways is just like, it's not just enough to work hard. It's because that's like the bare minimum you can do to like survive.
Yeah.
You know, you gotta work hard in this day and age. It's kind of more about like working hard with a goal in mind, with like goals and intentions, and like, okay, whether it's like you said, to pay off debt, or to like work on a skill, a trade, invest in like I don't know, like, you can
if
take
you are into school, invest in your education.
Right. You can take, or even it doesn't even just have to, you can take the money and like, you know what, I'm going to use this money to try and make more money one day. I'm gonna take a bartending class, like rent anything, you know,
yeah,
like all kinds of stuff. I think one of the big kind of downfalls of, I know one of my big downfalls when it comes to like working hard and hustling, but not necessarily like ending up where I want to be, especially budget wise and money wise or whatever, is the balance between being totally miserable because you don't buy anything for yourself and treating yourself so that, you know, like there's a balance, right? And so I'll do a thing where like, okay, I worked really, I'm like, I'm mentally drained and exhausted from this past work week, but I got paid. It's cool. You know what? I'm not gonna cook tonight. I'm gonna go get like some wings. I deserve this.
Yeah.
But I do that night, and then the next night, I literally, maybe I get off work too late, and I just don't have time to cook, so I have to go get like fast food. And then the next day, my friends want to go hang out, so I'm spending money on food that day too. And then all of a sudden, like, what was supposed to be a small treat yourself moment became like, oh, I'm like a week into my paycheck, I haven't cooked yet once, I haven't bought any groceries, and all I've done is like, but you know, like I'm way behind on my budgeting for the pay period because I wanted to treat myself, you know. And it's like, it's hard to find that balance for me anyway.
Sometimes I can be really hard on myself when it comes to budgeting specifically. I can do, like, I'll sit every day, like at the beginning of the month, every single month, and I'll go through, okay, I'm going to make roughly this because we are commission-based workers. But, you know, I'll give myself like the minimum of what I'll make, and I'll think, this is how much I want to put towards, well, this is how much I have to put towards my bills, this is how much I want to put towards paying off, like trying to pay off credit cards as soon as possible, trying to pay off student loans as soon as possible. And then it's easy for me to be like, well, I don't have to do anything this month, like I'm not gonna go out, I'm not gonna watch any movies this month, I'm gonna stay home, I'm gonna put all the money that I have extra towards this one card that I'm almost done paying off. And it'll get to be like the end of the month, and I'm like, this month was just a month that I worked.
Yeah.
Like, and paid money back, and I have nothing, no memorable moment.
When I feel like when you get too far into doing that, of like, because it's a responsible thing to do, there's nothing more responsible than just paying bills and debt that you have to do and not spending any money on yourself. But I mean, I don't know, I feel like you get up in this like this cycle. You end up in this really kind of bad cycle, you know. So let's say you do that 1 month and you're even closer next month, so you do it again and again, and then you're just stuck in like a go to work, go home, sleep, go to work cycle again. And that's just not a, I don't want to sound immature, but I mean, realistically, that's not a fun life to live, you know. Like,
right.
Like, one of the things that makes the grind, the hustle worth it is those moments where you actually get to enjoy yourself. And it's like, but I mean, you can't do it too much, because if not, you're gonna look up and you're gonna be way behind.
Yeah, thinking about potentially going back to school this fall is so difficult, because I'm like, in my head, I'm like, I can't do anything this entire summer if I even want to consider going back. It's like $600 a class.
Yeah.
Which might not sound like a lot to people who are in like four-year universities, but to someone who's like paying their entire way through school, it's hard. I'm not making that much money.
I mean, $600 is, sometimes it's a whole check. Sometimes it's like, majority of the times that's most of the check. Sometimes it's like a whole lot of it or all of it, you know. So it's like, it's difficult. But I don't know what I try and do, and sometimes it doesn't work out, but sometimes I try and like, you don't have to treat yourself to like a trip to, and it's hard not to get caught up in this, because like personally, I have a lot of friends and stuff who like they're in a position where they end up like traveling a good amount, or you know, like sometimes it won't even be them, their families will be like, hey, let's go on vacation here or whatever. I have friends who just they travel a lot, and sometimes I look at my checks and I'm like, I could do that. I could just ask for a weekend off and go to like wherever, you know, like I can go to
can't even name a place.
Austin or like New Orleans or like LA for like a weekend, just something, you know, like just take some money and just go do something, right? But I'm like, oh, the guilt would just eat me alive. Like if I did that, and then even if I found a way to budget it out and things worked okay, if I did that, but even 2 months from then, I'm like a little bit behind on like a car payment or something, I'm like, man, that's that money you spent in LA.
You know what also sucks is, I think it's the way I was brought up, the way the lifestyle I've kind of lived, being from someone from like a lower income family, is that you have to plan for the worst, right? So sometimes I'll think, okay, I've been doing really good these last 2 months. This is the time, Jess. Like, it's okay to treat yourself. And then I'll think, well, what if in a month, you know, I'm not given the same amount of hours at work, or God forbid something happens to my car, something happens to like a relative, something where I need to spend this money.
Exactly.
I'm gonna feel terrible knowing
that you and it's sad because it shouldn't be that way.
It really,
like
yeah.
we shouldn't be so. And I've lately, what I've been doing is I've just been like, I mean, it sounds cliche, but being a lot nicer to myself, like not being so hard on myself. You know, like yeah, you know what? Maybe you spent some money here at this. The other night, it's gonna sound so funny. The other night, I literally went. I went to with some friends, and I mean, there's a whole story behind it. But long story short, we ended up at an actual steakhouse to go eat, because that's just, instead of like getting food. Yeah, instead of just.
Didn't know you had it. I feel like I have this feeling every single time we sit down to record. It's like, wow, I'm sitting next to a rich person.
No, yeah, I mean, no, I got a whole vault hidden away somewhere full of gold you didn't know about. I'm just waiting to break it out.
I ate beans and rice today.
Okay, well,
twice.
But anyway, yeah. So we went. We got like, I ordered steak and shrimp and like 2 big margaritas, you know, and I could feel like just really awful about it. Like, man, that is money I could have spent on literally anything. But no, I'm letting it go. I'm like, you know what? Like, I deserve like nice food sometimes. Like, you know, I'm allowed to do this one thing for myself without totally, and it, like I said, it sounds cliche, but let's flip it. Let's say you told me a story about how you did that, right? I wouldn't be the type of friend to be like, oh, dude, you suck. Like, how could you do that? Like, you,
well, I am that
really
friend. You suck.
You really fucked yourself up. Like, how dare you, right? Like, basically, it's not even about the message. It's just about how you know, like, you don't talk to your friends like that. When your friends are going through struggles, whatever, you kind of pick them up.
That's the thing you'll hear in like therapy. Like, would you like yourself if you were I butchered that, but like, would you
like talk to picture yourself in the third person? Would you talk to one of your friends like that if
the
they
way
were
you
going
talk
through
to yourself?
And it's like, if you did, you wouldn't have any friends, really. Like, if I talk to my friends the way I talk to myself, how hard I am on myself, no, I wouldn't have friends. They'd be like, all he is a judgy prick who just judges how I spend my money. So, you know, so that's why I'm like,
you know, it's crazy,
trying to be nicer about it to myself.
I have been seriously considering, I've not even seriously considering, I've sent in paperwork. I'm waiting to hear back. I want to get a life insurance for myself. Like, oh wow, I want to start paying towards a life insurance. And the reason I'm doing it is because my parents are in their 50s and they have never had any kind of insurance. No health insurance, no life insurance, no nothing. To be fair, we were illegally in this country for sure about a decade, so okay. Wasn't really an option back then. But they're thinking about it now. And my mom really was the like head, you know, the one to actually organize it, submit the paperwork. And I got into a bit of an argument with my dad because he genuinely doesn't see the point. He's like, I don't see the point in spending money on a life insurance. I think it's pointless. And I got heated. Like, I wanted to fight him. I feel like every time I talk to my dad, I want to fight him because the only way I could really explain it to him was, your life insurance isn't for you. It's for the people you leave behind when you die. Oh, yeah. So how dare you not want, like, if you die tomorrow, you know how hard my mom and I are going to have to scrape money together to pay for your shitty funeral? Like, where you could just have been an adult, had a life insurance and had that shit sorted. And then I thought, well, yeah, I am 23. Theoretically, like, I'm not dying anytime soon, right? If things go well, if things go well, you're gonna be kicking for a while. Exactly. And I felt like such a hypocrite. Why am I not thinking about that? Because I could die any moment, right? Yeah, no, I mean, and I'd leave behind this huge debt for my friends and family to try and like gather the funds. Funerals are expensive. Yeah, I think it's not that I think about death a lot, but I think about what would happen if like something happened to me, or even worse, like somebody really close to me, and like their funeral, how much I would have to try and pull together for the funeral, or vice versa for mine. It's like, that's really tough. Pricey. Yeah. So I've thought about it too, but the reason is though, I'm thinking, well, that's another bill. So what do I now have to cut back on? How much tighter do I have to cinch my belt?
Yeah.
Adding this whole other bill that it's not even like a credit card or like a subscription. I can't just like, oh, I can't afford it for like a few months, let me pause it, or oh, I just had to do it for a few years and then I'm done paying it off. No, this is a lifelong thing.
A commitment. Yeah, this is just adding. I mean, you don't like to think of it as, it's not debt, but like you said, it's adding a bill.
Yeah.
That you're gonna pay forever.
A life expense. For my death.
Yeah, forever. Like there's no way out. Like you're there. You're doing it forever. So
but it does feel very selfish.
I mean, it's the right thing
not to do it.
It's the right thing to do, but I'm glad you used that word because it's selfish. But I mean, and you might not agree with this, but like if there was ever a time for us to be selfish, it's now. It's now before
you think so?
I think so.
I think about the fact that like, to me, in the grand scheme of things, what is it going to be? Max $50 a month, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I can pay that. Whether I'd like to admit it or not, I can pay it because I know I can pay. I know I can. Well, it's not like 200. It's not like a crazy. I can work in those 50. And to me, as the only daughter to two parents who together they don't even make like $45,000 a year.
Right. Well,
it feels so like immature of me because I feel like I'm an adult now. I can't even say like, oh well, I'm a kid. Like,
yeah. Well, my point wasn't that like I mean, if you want to look at it that way, morally, it is the right thing to do. Just get life insurance. Sure. I didn't mean to say it like, oh, like, no, you don't have to do it, dude. Like, it's fine. Like, it's not, it's cool. It's good you're doing it. Like it's the morally right thing to do. But what I meant is if you had to pick a time where like, you know what? I really just have to focus on me and my expenses and stuff right now. Mm-hmm. It's now. Like if you had to pick a time in your life, because after this, there is no.
It gets real. Yeah.
Like there's no other we don't get that. I mean, technically, you always have the option, quote unquote, because like your parents had the option, and they.
Yeah. Right.
Right, but
it's better to do it when you're young. Also, that's a little tidbit.
Yeah, it's better to do it when you're young for sure, but also
you lock in that rate for.
Yeah, it's better
a few decades.
It's better to do it when you're young, but also I could see why someone would not be ready to do it right now. Like commit to that like at such a young age, don't even have a real career job yet, don't know exactly where you're going with it. So I mean, I could see why someone wouldn't want to do it, because I mean, I would argue that when you're like later in life, you actually have your own, not just like your older family, but like your family that's yours, your kids, your spouse, whatever, then it feels like, okay, this is actually like I have to do this now.
Right.
Like I don't really have much of an option. I mean, to me, now you at least have somewhat of an option.
Yeah.
At that point, there's no option. It's just the right thing to do for sure.
Yeah, I see it as this weird like, I don't know. I'd love not to, right? I'd love to. The idea of making enough money to where I could have a savings account that in the event of my death, my parents could be like, well, she had this money set aside. Let's use that. It sounds great, but I'm not there yet. And I don't see a future super close by, because I'm not super psyched about school. I don't have like a particular career that I'm aspiring to at the moment.
Exactly.
So the idea of just tacking on as another bill is much more comforting to me.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that.
But it's hard, man. It makes me feel old, and I'm 23 is not old.
No, not at all.
The guy that I talked to was like, "Wow, like that's so cool. Like how responsible of you, young lady." And I was like, "Yeah, I mean,
thanks.
I'm poor. My family's poor. Like, ain't got much of an option. I mean, I do. I could just not get it, but we've had some deaths in the family, and it's been every single time. It's like such a shock."
Yeah, I mean,
to look at the expenses.
Yeah, because you never expect how much it really like. It's
and it shocks everyone. Yeah. It'll be like a relative I don't even talk to. I've never even talked to, but I'm hearing about like they're gathering funds because everybody's got to pitch in, and that's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know, and I mean it's weird that we're like, it's kind of weird we're talking about it. Like I said, I've thought about
you gotta
things.
Hustle for that life insurance.
Right? What a transition.
No, I want a nice casket.
I've thought about, life insurance and stuff like that a lot, but I always kind of back out because I get that weird, like, feeling of like, oh, what if I die? Like, 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 what if I die? that weird like mortal fear of like, I don't want to think about death. I don't want to think of like because it's true. The idea that I could just be gone any day now is true, but it's like, man, I'm too much
The
of a chicken to
ultimate
think
nap.
about it.
Oh my
like,
God. I sometimes just dream about it.
that's on you, fam. Like, good. As I'm glad you can find comfort in it. I cannot. And which is the reason why I haven't like really even sat down long enough to think about the logistics of getting life, because I'm like, man, thinking about the idea of me like not being here,
Right.
like especially this young, like that's terrifying. Like I don't want to think about it. Like
Yeah.
I'm a little chicken about it. I don't want to think about like, oh, I might not be here tomorrow. I could die in my sleep right now. Like that's literally terrifying. Like what the hell? So whenever I become mature enough to come to grips with that, like truly, then I'll probably join you and get the life insurance.
Yeah. The only thing I can never really talk myself into is healthcare, because we live in one of the worst countries.
Yeah.
When it comes to like expenses, medical expenses, it's ridiculous.
Like
I was paying for health insurance for a long time, and it covered jack shit.
Yeah, it
covered nothing. It wouldn't cover my glasses or my birth control. Right. How is that possible?
Yeah, that's actually awful. That's terrible. I don't know. I can't speak on it a whole lot because I've never had to. That's one thing I can't say. I'm like privileged enough to, lucky enough, like my parents always at least had health insurance to some degree.
Yeah,
it's and
we had it because Obama, like under the Obama healthcare program, Obamacare, we had to, or we would get fined. We just pay the fine now because it's cheaper than paying
legit for health insurance.
Yeah, for health insurance.
I mean, this is random, especially speak about it on podcasts. But like, have you looked at it maybe through like our job we have now?
I have. Honestly, the only...
Because if I'm not mistaken, don't they just take a little bit out of your check?
The only reason I can easily talk myself out of it is because in one day, I hope it doesn't catch up to me, right? But when I think of my... Like, I need what? Like, a few things. My birth control, my, like... You know, I mean, your lady test.
I know you're trying.
I
know you're trying to downplay that, but that's a big deal,
right?
It's kind of a big.
It's a
conversation for another time. But that's a big deal.
Those things, I've just gotten used to paying out of pocket. It's not that big of a deal to me. You really can find like online cheap alternatives. I love Planned Parenthood. I will forever love Planned Parenthood, and everything else like my dental work. Anytime I wanted like real like full body testing, I just go to Mexico.
Okay, so if you can, you know what? If you can actually like budget it out yourself and like just get it done,
it's so much cheaper.
Hey, more power to you.
It's like
do it.
What I would pay here a month back when I was very for like a very limited time on health insurance. For that, like one monthly bill, I could go to Mexico and get everything done. They'd look at my teeth. They'd look at my bones. They'd be like, yeah, you don't have enough iron in your diet. And I'd be like, yeah, I'm vegan. Like, I'm kidding.
I was like, you just going to proudly state that, huh? Like, you give
I'm
her...
I'm not. But,
you're transitioning.
That's what they always told me was like, you're so low on iron. And I'd be like, thanks, you know, I do what I can.
I try.
They'd be like, probably why you're so pale. I hate that. I used to get that when I was in high school.
That's not a thing.
Well, it's not necessarily being pale. It's like, you know how like in your eye, if you pull like your little eye baggie, eye bag down,
sure,
and it's supposed to be red. If it's too light of a color, it could be a sign of like, what is the word I'm looking for?
Like iron deficiency?
Yes. What is the thing you are if you're iron deficient? You are
anemic.
There you go.
Yep.
I remember that's a whole other story. I fainted once really bad in like
I remember that used to
grade.
be that was a thing. Yeah. Knowing you early on, I remember I actually used to be kind of worried about it randomly. Like I was like, I have a friend that just kind of passes out sometimes. I hope she's okay.
Yeah, I got a really bad burn, and I went to the I got a bad burn on my arm, and they took me to the nurse's office, and they were like, "Who's beating you at home?" And I was like, nobody. Like, I like to faint. I didn't, but it's what happened every now and again. And that's what the girl said. She's like, you know, your lips are really pale. And she pulled down my little eye bag and was like, it's really like light. It's supposed to be a red color.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've always been pale, so I just took it as an offensive comment. Like, fuck you, bitch. Like, this is what I look like.
It's funny. I've never heard like that before. I've never heard of like the eyelid thing or whatever. I've heard of little signs about being anemic. Never heard about that. But I mean, it's good though if you can find a way to like take care of yourself, and stay, because you're not doing the thing that a lot of people do. Is like, well, I can't afford health insurance, so whatever. I mean, I won't get sick anyway. I'll just live forever. Like, I'm not gonna get sick.
I go to Mexico like twice a year
and get everything checked out. I mean, that's good.
Get my teeth looked at.
The ironic thing is, I'm under my parents' health insurance. They've been fighting me, like actually trying to fight me to get me to go to the doctor.
And steakhouses and health insurance.
And I'm
sitting next to Bill Gates.
Basically, y'all can't see it, but I'm doing a little like money, like cha-ching thing with my hand.
I'm holding up a sign that says, "My family needs health insurance. Please provide money." I give like the few ones I had with me to this guy that I saw that held up a sign that said, he was dressed. He didn't look like a homeless person. Right. He just kind of looked like an older gentleman, like a button-down shirt and like some khakis. Yeah, not like a nice button-down shirt and khakis, but it wasn't, the homeless attire that you can visualize. It wasn't that. And his sign read, "My wife needs meds."
Oh, you broke down.
Believed him.
Yeah. I mean,
it kind of sucks, sometimes, because it is a gamble. You never know what they're gonna take that money and use it on, but. A part of me was like, yeah, I believe you, fam. And I just gave him what I had.
I did that the other day at the grocery store, which is weird. Like, for some reason, I feel better about pulling up to a stoplight and giving money to people than because it's very like uncomfortable when I'm because I was literally walking back to my car from like within the store, and they I could tell it was a lady and her daughter, and I could tell she was kind of like trying to follow me, but not intentionally doing it. She was very conscious of like, I don't want to freak him out, but also I really need to ask him for, Yeah. And she said that it was so sad. She only needed like $50 because she was just like a little bit behind on like whatever hotel they were staying at for the night.
Oh, damn.
And it was heartbreaking. And I didn't have 50, so I gave her like the $2 bills that I had and like was done with it. But like, man, that was rough.
That's sad. Sometimes that gets me because I'm like, what am I doing as a person to help the less fortunate?
Exactly.
Not much.
And for me, it's seeing the kid was just like, and it's one of those situations where the kid didn't even look sad or anything. She was just like, oh, what are we doing, mommy? Like I forgot what she said. She said something along the lines of just like you could tell she just didn't know what was going on. Like she was just like there with her mom, like whatever. Like it was in it, and they're just going around from car to car. Like
I remember having,
it was like crazy.
I think it was in high school. I used to do a lot of community service work for like the events that I was a part of or the organizations I was a part of, and I remember hearing at one point that they were looking for donations for a women's shelter, and they needed like hygienic pads and tampons, and it made me so sad because never up until that point I was 16, 17, and it never occurred to me, what do homeless women do? Do they take like the bit of money they have and spend it on sanitary pads, or do they eat,
Yeah.
Do they feed like that woman the kid they might have, or do they just freely bleed? Like it's so sad.
No, that is
so sad.
Super sad. I think it might have been you or it might have been someone else, but I've talked to some like one of my female friends about this, but I think it was like a couple years back though, and just being like, man, and it kind of just changed my perspective on like, it wasn't like I was like, oh, forget you guys before, but it was just like that was just another thing, another layer of like, man, like that just make you feel worse about it,
Yeah. Wow, what a sad turn this took.
On a lighter
we went from shitting on DJ Khaled to talking about homeless women and their
that's the nature of
their needs.
That's the nature of the podcast,
Yeah, that's true. These are very much like our conversations.
Yeah, that's the funny thing about it. Like, for anybody who just doesn't, and nobody would know because except for maybe like 2 or 3 of our friends who have been here when we legit just like shoot the shit like as people, nobody else would know. But this is literally like how our conversations go a lot of times. That's just how it is. You start with one thing and then you just kind of flow. Which is why we thought it would be like, oh, let's just get microphones and record this and see if anybody thinks it's funny.
Or entertaining.
Or if you maybe by some miracle might learn anything ever. Probably not, but but one thing I was gonna say though, I didn't want to like throw off the flow of your story, but one of the funny thing I had a story though, and
you
it
make
was
a joke about homeless women.
No, it was before the homeless thing.
Oh,
okay. But when you started talking about that, I was like, well, dang, I can't throw this random story in with the home. Like, I'm gonna look like I don't care. No, but it was
gotta put up the front of I'm a good person.
so hard. No, it was. So you brought up how like you used to, the fainting thing, or whatever, right?
Oh yeah.
And it's not related that much, but it just reminds, because I think you said some joke or something about like, oh yeah, I have this friend and she faints sometimes. No, I said that. Yeah, I have this friend.
You're quoting yourself.
She faints sometimes, and it made me think about like so. During our college years, we had these two friends. Well, they're like engaged now, but basically, I'm talking about Pedro and Injury.
Oh.
Yeah, so they.
I was like, who the fuck?
Yeah,
got engaged. Okay.
Yeah, they're engaged or whatever. And the point is, they went to Philadelphia. They went to school in Philadelphia together. So one year, I think our third or fourth year in college or something. I think our third year. I went up to Philly to see him.
6th, 7th year in college.
Who knows? I don't know. I lost track at this point. I don't know. All I know is they finished and I didn't. But I think their third year,
right.
we went up there. Well, I went up there to see him, and we went to this party, and it was cool. We were there, there was drinks, and there was like people smoking and all kinds of stuff, whatever, right? It was a cool party. I got kind of lit. They were kind of lit because we showed up to the party lit because we pre-gamed really hard. It was just like,
I love that.
Like it was. I took inspiration from our old bar trips, and I told him like, okay, just in case the party isn't great,
you gotta show up drunk.
Yes, that's literally
like
what we did.
Not tipsy. You gotta show up gone.
Drunk. Yeah. That was me, and it didn't end well for me that night, but they were okay. But that's not the point of the story. The point of the story is I remember being there, and there was all kinds of stuff there. There was beer pong. At first, we were just kind of standing there scoping it out because it was a super small party. It was like the apartment was so small. It was the size of like. Almost like a little bigger than a bedroom. It was such a small whatever. It looked like a little shitty like college apartment or something, right? But somehow they fit like maybe 15 or 20 people in there, and a beer pong table and a little cooler full of beer. Yeah, it was cool. But we're there, and I was just thinking about it. They're gonna laugh that like I freaking told this story, but I'm thinking about it, and I remember at some point we all kind of hear like a thud, and we're like, "What?" I'm not kidding. And we look over, and it's this girl, this chick, just on the floor because she passed out.
That was me. I was there.
It was me. No, but we looked over, and she's just like, and we're like, is this okay?
This bitch just faint.
And I mean, maybe
that's
this
how
is
my mom looked at me the first time I ever fainted in front of her. She's like, "This bitch really just faint."
Stop being dramatic. Get your ass up. Like,
she kicked me.
No, but so. I mean, maybe I'm not the best person, but like they were like, hey, like, is she okay? People kind of freaked out. They were like, we should maybe call an ambulance. And I looked around at all the like probably not legal substances there. And so I told Pedro Yendry and other people were, I was like, you know what? We can just leave. Man. I was like, you know what? We can just leave though. Like
someone
before
faints and you're first, gotta call the ambulance. I hate kids. Let's be grown-ups here.
In your defense, she was okay, but I was like, she was okay.
She didn't die.
She didn't die, right? Because if you don't know how this story turned out, it could have been a lot worse. Like, what if I had told you, like, oh, well, she didn't make it, so.
Well.
No, but
I've had that life insurance.
No, but she got up like, I don't know, maybe like 5 or 10 minutes later, and we were like, dude, what the hell? And the guy she was with was just like, oh no, it's okay, she does this. And we was like, wait,
I need a man like that.
We was like, wait. So y'all just go to parties and she just does that. She just faints. Like, that's just her thing.
Was it like?
I'm pretty sure I don't know. I still don't know what was wrong. I don't know if it's like a medical thing she had or if she legit just couldn't handle whatever she was drinking, smoking, whatever. I still have no idea what.
I can't tell which one's worse. Like not being able to handle yourself or actually being sick. Because they're both pretty embarrassing.
Maybe.
Well, one's embarrassing and one's sad. Up to you to decide which one's which.
I don't know. All I know is because we never. I mean, I didn't talk to the girl. Like I didn't go up to her afterwards. Like so.
Yeah.
what's up? Why you be doing, like,
I would have.
um,
Oh, bitch, me too. I used to paint all the time.
but it was just the weirdest thing that's ever like happening. Like, we legit looked up, like, I don't think I've ever really seen a person in person, like, just pass out. And we were at a
It's scary.
Party. It is
Have
terrifying.
you ever passed out?
I haven't, no.
Oh. You wanna?
No.
Oh.
No. Not exactly. Not particularly.
Some boring friends I have here.
I wouldn't mind going to sleep in a not sober way, but I don't necessarily
passed out
want
once
to pass
riding
out.
a bike.
Oh, that's terrifying.
Yeah, it was. I had like I skid on gravel. It was pretty gross.
What the heck?
I know.
Dude, I don't know what this like. That's. I mean, I'm glad you're okay now, but it could have been a lot worse. That's crazy.
Yeah. Well. But I'm alive to tell the tale. So who really won?
You.
Yeah.
You won.
Yeah, I agree. And that girl, she's probably out there still partying, still fainting.
I hope not. I hope she learned to.
She grew out of it.
I don't know I don't know. Like, I just know it was very strange. The rest of the party was pretty fun. It was really lit. I don't remember a lot after that. I remember I tried to hit on this one girl and found out she was like.
She wasn't flirting with you, like Shoe Girl.
Oh no, she was she was a lot more interested in Shoe Girl. But she ended up being like, I don't know. I think at the time I was like 20 or 20. No, I was like 21, maybe 22, and she was like 28 or 29 or something.
Oh shit!
And I don't know how I missed that. I didn't see it, but I remember talking to her and like somehow I was bold enough when I was like, "How old are you?" And she's like, "Oh, I'm like 29 or something." And I'm just like, "Oh, okay, sure." And my friends were laughing at me because they was like, "Dude, why you hitting on this like old lady?"
That's
basically.
Funny. I think it's no, because sometimes old women are cool for like are attractive to young men, right?
Oh yeah, I mean yeah, that's a thing. I don't have any actual issue with it. It's not a big deal, but it's just like it's weird for like being at a party of all the like literally a party with college age girls around, and I would be the one to get drunk and go for like the actual adult in the room, like
well,
I
don't put it past me to be like 28, 29 and still in college, so.
True.
I don't put it past you either. I wouldn't.
No, I don't put it past me either. Nope. But hopefully I'm not 28, 29 at parties hitting on like 22 year. Yeah, the like sophomore, juniors and got like that be a little for me. And I'm not trying to make this girl sound weird. In her defense, I'm sure I started it. I'm sure I did. But who knows? Because I was drunk. I don't know.
That's funny. 28, 29 doesn't seem that old, but
I think the environment. I think it's not really that old, and I mean I can't talk. Like I've dated a girl around that age, older than me or whatever. But it's just a thing of the environment was strange for it. That was just such a weird night. It was just all together between the fainting and there's one older girl.
It'd be great if it was the same girl.
Oh man,
that'd be funny. You hit on a girl and like a few minutes later she's passed out on the ground.
It was reversed. She passed out,
what a great
and then
story.
later in the party, I hit on.
Oh, okay.
So it would be more like I saw her pass out, forgot what she looked like, and then went to hit on her later after she woke up. Like,
well,
but anyways, I think this is a pretty good. Time to wrap it up. I was thinking, since you mentioned it earlier in the show, I'm gonna get it ready right now. But you wanna drop we can drop our actual handles for these social media pages.
Yes, please do.
Okay, so I'm gonna start with Instagram. Bear with me, because I was not prepared for this really.
They will also be in the bio of whatever platform you're listening to this on.
For sure, absolutely.
Everything will be in the bio.
But our Instagram name is DS Degrees. That is lowercase ds degrees, like the ones we don't have. DEGREES. Is Twitter the same? I think.
Yes.
Twitter is at DS Degrees or something like that. Something that degree.
Yeah.
It's gonna be in the bio, and then YouTube is probably the same.
D's don't get degrees.
D's don't get degrees. Yes, we are.
Full name.
The full name of the podcast. That makes sense. Yep.
As well as SoundCloud is our full name.
Yep. SoundCloud and YouTube, the places you can actually listen to the podcast. It's D's don't get degrees. Check us out. We're gonna be trying post every week. Post weekly. Keep this consistent.
Yeah.
And then for any social media, whatever, is DS Degrees. But this has been Dominic.
And this has been Jessica.
And we're gonna sign out. We're gonna see y'all next week.
All right, guys. Bye.
Bye.